I want to say hello and welcome to the TAE40122 Certificate 4 in Training and Assessment. This is the Transition Workshop Information Session. So I would like to begin just briefly by acknowledging the traditional custodians of land on which this recording is being run today, which is the Yunganba people, and we pay our respects to their elders past and present and recognise their ongoing connection to this country. My name is Dan Hill, and I'm one of the founders and directors of Spec Training, which is a registered training organisation that has specialised in training and assessment qualifications for well over 15 years now. So I am very proud to present to you today our plans and program for the transition of the current TAE holders to the new qualification as part of what I would call their professional development. A common misconception around the new qualification is that this is what would be called an upgrade. And from previous versions, that is probably a sensible way to think about the new qualification. For previous qualifications, there was a need to include new units of competency in order to meet current regulations. And as such, trainers and assessors were required at the time to upgrade in order to meet the compliance needs of registered training organisations. This is not the case with the TAE22. It's a successor and has an equivalent workplace outcome. So that simply means you're attaining the knowledge and skills gaps as professional development and not an upgrade. This will also allow you or anyone who does this transition to tick the box for their professional development and their currency in training and assessment. What the transition program will look like. It is over 5 days. The first day will cover the brand new unit, which is the TAE PDD401, titled Work Effectively in the Vet Sector. This unit will cover all the new information about changes in the industry, and not only over the last 6 months, which there have been a few, but also those that are expected in coming years. Now, I don't want to go too far ahead in what I'm presenting today, but that means as people enroll and join the transition program, you will be updated with whatever we know at that moment in time with regards to industry changes. For example, in the last 48 hours, a job skills council has finally come online for a particular sector. I think it was agriculture. These are now coming online to develop training programs going forward. So as they come online, we will let you know in the workshop as we know. So it's very exciting that we are sharing the most up-to-date information. And as I mentioned, we will also be sharing what the industry will probably be doing and is in the pipeline to complete within the next 18 months. Day 2 is what we are going to call the knowledge assessment workshop. In this, we're going to be running through all the knowledge assessment gaps between the TAE40116 and the TAE40122. We've clustered together all the different units and all the knowledge gaps that we've been able to determine, and we have created a set of questions to meet that gap need. That leaves us with some practical work to do, which is actually quite interesting. The practical work is day 3 to 5. Specifically, we're working on the new design and develop assessment tools unit. So we're going to be developing RPL tools and validating tools that have actual input from candidates, something that was left out of the old TAE. A part of the criteria of entering this transition program is that you have to have one of the following electives in your old TAE. That is either provide work skill instruction, mentoring in the workplace, maintaining training assessment information, or making presentations. Our research tells us that approximately 90% of TAE holders have one of these electives. If the elective is outside of this, a small portion of RPL will probably be required outside of the transition program. Why have we created it this way? Firstly, this is the most efficient way to upskill and achieve the newest qualification. As I just mentioned, it provides for over 90% of the current TAE16 holders. One of the things I'm very proud of and one of the values of Spec Training is flexibility. So it will allow for flexible attendance and completion. And I'll explain this in a moment when I look at the frequently asked questions. And finally, and this is a big one, it reduces the complexity, cost, and time-consuming RPL process. Many people attend or want to attend TAE workshops with a lot of current industry skills, and they're looking for RPL, but those RPL applications are all very different. And this is a way of achieving this much more efficiently for both a learner and really for us as well. We can get people through the entire process in a much more effective manner, and something that you can take away with you at the end is a new qualification rather than waiting to slowly piece together your RPL information. A part of this is to address frequently asked questions. Because the TAE has now been on scope since the start of the year, officially since the end of last year, but since the start of this year, and more training organizations are bringing this onto their scope, we have a lot of questions that we can answer already. So hopefully yours will be answered just in the next few slides. The first one is, can I attend on different days depending on my work requirements? Or can I split my attendance across different workshops? Well, the answer is yes, you absolutely can. The way we've done this is broken it into those three individual parts. So day one, being the TAE PDD unit, can be attended. And then if you can't for any reason attend the rest of the workshop, you can book in for the next one to attend the next days, which brings us to day two. Day two is also one of those jump in and jump out points. So again, just giving you that flexible arrangement. If you can't attend one day, you can attend day two. The last 3 days, however, need to be completed in one go. The reason is that we work through a project in teams to complete a set of predetermined RPL projects and validation projects. So as you can see, there is points where you can jump in and out of the program and allows for that flexibility around work times and schedules, etc. As we go forward, for any late changes or changes that are out of our hands, there may be some fees that could be payable. So I just want to be open about that up front. We don't like charging any extra fees. So generally speaking, we won't. However, if there's a very last minute pullout, then our terms and conditions will account for that. But on the surface, you can definitely go in and out of a program. Preferably, you schedule that upon enrollment. Another common question is, are you going to be delivering this face-to-face? Well, yes. Spec Training have developed virtual workshops that mirror the face-to-face environment. And we've had very positive feedback over the last 3 years regarding this mode of delivery. So as such, this workshop will cater for this need and deliver very high quality training to those all across Australia, not just those closest to a capital city. If there are closed cohorts, in other words, individual clients who have a cohort of people who would like to go through this and they do want to book a face-to-face version of this, then we will absolutely look at that option. Another very common question, is there any pre-work required? So prior to commencing, we will ask you for your current TAE40122 qualification and the transcript. This will allow us to map your existing qualifications to the new TAE40122. Approximately 1 week prior to you commencing that particular workshop, you'll receive joining instructions from us. This email will include the link to your session and anything else you may need to prepare for prior to attending. At this stage, there will be no mandatory pre-work, just a little reading to be prepared for day one. Will everything be completed by the time I end my workshop? Well, our intention is absolutely yes. We intend to have all assessments completed in the time allocated to this workshop. There may be occasions where some work may be needed to be completed between the days of the workshop, but this is based on the progress in class and is not expected. So as you can imagine, if for any reason there are technical difficulties on either side of the workshop, then sometimes it can blow out a little, in which case some templates or questions may need to be answered between days. But that's to get everything done within the 5 days. We are super excited, dare I say it, to be able to offer our brand new textbook for all those who attend this program. It's valued at $119, and this resource can be a ready reference for you long after completing the training. And it may be passed on to others in your workplace if they want to undertake either this transition workshop or the full program in the future. You can opt to receive the ebook version if this is more convenient. But we've just run a recent survey and found that 60% of respondents preferred the hard copy. So we're more than happy to provide this option to you. What assessments will need to be completed? The assessments are built into the program starting on day one. So firstly, the knowledge and practical components of the PDD unit will be completed in class. This includes completing 2 templates that are commonly used in RTOs. This is a facilitator matrix and a PD plan. The reason I'm excited about this unit, having now run this course for at least 3 times, is that this paperwork is something that every registered training organization requires, and yet it didn't form part of the old TAE. So as I said, I'm very excited that this is now part of the program. So in doing these practical components, you'll actually be readying yourself for the workplace as well. So if you've already got versions of these, we also allow for existing versions to be included as assessment. So this is recognition of current competency, basically. Day 2 will see us completing the knowledge-based questions that we have determined as gaps between the old and the new qualification. This covers all the clusters of the TAE, from design, delivery, and assessment. That actually takes us very nicely into the last 3 days of the program, which is focused on assessment. So days 3 and 5 will see us working in groups to complete the practical skills gaps for assessment development and validation. These should all be finished in class, with all attendees being able to submit their assessments before the weekend. Our assessors will then mark the submissions and have the results back to you, hopefully within the week. So it's a fantastic way to update your qualification in a really timely manner. Compare this maybe to a very elongated RPL process that you may have to go through with other RTOs. Of course, people want to know what the investment is and is there any funding available. This program, we have managed to cut almost $1,500 off the standard fee for the full program. And there is a direct debit payment plan available, as well as what we call extended invoicing. Both of these make it much easier for people to pay, and there is funding available for people over 40. It's up to 50% of the course fee if you're over 40, and this is a part of your work outcome. So I'll leave this on screen for a second. If you're interested in seeking funding for the older workers, which is what they call the SCOW program, SCOW, then please use this QR link and it will take you to the website to apply for that funding. You can also share that with anybody else over 40 who is considering doing a qualification. So there's only 2 things I want to end on. The first is that I hope you or people you know can join us on this much simpler and better pathway towards the TAE22. What we've created, I believe, is the most efficient and effective way of doing that in a way that's also very interactive and enjoyable. So you come out the other end, not just with the qualification updated, but you also have a lot of fun along the way, learning new skills and knowledge and applying them in the workshop with others. Really, to finish off, there's a couple of things that you can do. You can share this QR code for enrollment with those who may need it, or you can call our team, Sharon and Taylor, on the 1300 number below if you'd like to organize this for maybe more than yourself. That's the content of where we're heading with this qualification. What we intend to do is have this completed and ready to run by the end of July, in which case, as I mentioned to you, the most up-to-date versions of everything will be ready for you to enjoy.